Now on to the specifics of scatter plots and trend lines. Although we started the thought of scatter plots previously to set the foundation, because remember these videos are intended to be watched in full and in order. So if you need to, go back and watch the error bars and other chart elements video so that you know how to get started in the scatter plot. To create this graph, we're going to use the All Data tab because we want to see how the individual values are distributed in relation to each other. Some of the basics are the same as with the column graph, so I'm not going to show you the detailed steps, but instead just point out where the steps are different. You'll notice that I've started a graph for you for sex 1. I'll walk you through what I did to get to that point, and then we'll walk through the process of adding sex 2, just like you did before when you were adding both groups. So we have both sex 1 and sex 2 on the same graph. For the scatter plot, I selected a blank cell, and then I navigated to the Insert tab, and I selected Scatter. This is where you'll notice sex 1 is already in the series, especially if you select your chart, which you should. And then you just have to click Add. I clicked Add, I added series sex 1, series 1, and we're going to repeat that process for sex 2. Just as you do for sex 2. Again, make sure your chart is selected so the options show up, and then you're going to select the Add option. You'll notice the pop-up is a little bit different than what you saw with the column graphs. This time you have the option to select both the X and Y value ranges in the pop-up for the values themselves. You will write sex 2 because we've already done one, and then you will, for X values, select the age for sex 2 and enter that information. Again, that's your X values, removing what information Excel already put, and then selecting the age for sex 2. Then we will continue on to delete the information Excel already has for your Y values. We then are going to select our weight for our sex 2 bears. And then we'll be able to click OK. You'll notice that now both series are on the plot. You also don't have to edit and cannot edit the X series like you did with the chart because you did it within each series. Now let's add trend lines to these data. Trend lines can be added to both column graphs and scatter plots. This will allow you to see the overall slope of the line and give you a visual as to the prevailing relationship among the scatter plots. You can also see the R-square values, which gives you a quantitative assessment of how well the trend line represents the actual points, and an equation for the slope of the line. To add the trend lines, make sure the chart is selected from your chart tools. Under the Design tab, then you can select Add Chart Elements and Trend Lines, just like we did with our error bars previously. We're going to use a linear trend line for our scatter plot because we want to see if there is a linear relationship between age and weight, but depending on your driving question, a different type of trend might be appropriate instead. If you add a trend line to a graph that has more than one series, Excel will pop up asking you which series you'd like to add it for. After the trend line is added, you can double-click the line, and it will bring up the options, just as you saw with the error bars for the chart. You can select Display Equation on Chart, which allows you to see the equation of the slope of the line, as well as the display R-squared values on the chart. These are helpful, again, when evaluating how effective or how closely related these data points are. From here, you can drag the newly added information to a better place on the chart just by clicking it. You can change the font and color size, play around with it. It is helpful if you keep the color scheme similar to whatever you already have them. The final video is finishing touches.